This is the Nurses Doing GAMSAT podcast, brought to you by Thank Flip GAMSAT. We're here to teach you how to smash the GAMSAT, get into medicine, and become a flippin' great doctor.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the podcast. We're joined today by, I'm joined today by two incredible people. We've got Marie here from the team, and we've also got Sue Fraser-Adams, who just got an offer for a medical school, and we're going to be talking about her experience and how she got into a medical school.
I think what I'm trying to say is her extraordinary, amazing journey into medical school, because it is not the path that most people take. And so I'm so excited to have you both here. Of course, you, Tom, and Sue, being able to share this experience. I just think...
Yeah, I think it's an incredible story and a great inspiration and great mindset lesson as well of persistence and tenacity and all sorts of cool things. So we'll get into that. But Marie, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Hi. Not sure what that means, but let's say hi, Sue, and maybe let us know where you got into. So what are the next steps?
Okay, well, I know this sounds an amazing miracle, but it's actually happened. I've had to double check the paperwork several times this week. I'm enrolled into CDU. Now, just for background, for those who don't know, CDU has never had a medical unit. They tried last year. Again, I applied and it all got shut down because they needed $26 million to operate, and they didn't get it from the federal government. So the whole idea of last year just collapsed. So it's just funny how things happen. A friend of mine who actually knew one of the lecturers very well there said, CDU's starting up this medical school again. Have you applied? And I said, oh, no, I didn't know anything about it. Anyway, of course, within 5 minutes, I did know about it, and I applied, but I forgot about it because I had exams. I was doing another GAMSAT. I didn't give it any thought, really. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, there came this email saying, you've been selected for an interview.
Yeah, so let's go back a couple of steps, because this isn't, you've been at this. You've been trying. Like, this isn't something you just fell into. When did you decide to become a doctor? How did that come about?
Well, I think it's something I've always known in the back of my mind. That's what I'd really like to do. But life doesn't always give you the cards you need, right? You know, I had to work after I'd done my first degree. The university I went to didn't have a medical school or anything like that. I just did economics because it was it's accessible, and I knew I could get a job and I could start to financially look after myself, you know, after coming out of school. My parents were very hardworking, abstemious sort of people that lived on the land, that went up, you know, the droughts, the fires, the floods, the whole lot. And I really wanted, I think, a financial secure future rather than, I know what living on the land is like, and I didn't want to go through that again. I saw what it did to my parents, but I did medicine. I always interested in medical issues because my mother was a nurse. We lived out in a remote area, and things happen on the property. People broke their arms, people cut their hands off. You know, you wouldn't believe what happens with people and machinery. And she just dealt with everything so calmly, knowledgeably, and in a way that calmed the person down. You know, I had a guy who had his fingers all cut off with a machine. My mother just dealt with it, and I thought, what a wonderful, you know, it was always at the back of my mind. But life goes on. You just have to get out. You've got to find an income, you know. Then I met someone, I got married, I had kids. I went through the whole thing. And then I got to 70 and I thought, I really don't want to work on a hot tin roof anymore. I was a builder for 30 years. My doctor was saying, get off ladders and things like that. You're going to fall off. And she's probably right. at some stage. So I got to 70 and thought, well, I'm going to live another 30 years because my mother died at 102. And I thought, well, why don't I do what I really want to do? And what do I really want to do? I want to do medicine.
Yeah.
So at 70 years old, I thought, well, how do I do this? So I went, I got to do the GAMSAT. Holy, the GAMSAT. So, right, okay. So I went and did the GAMSAT and came out with my head thinking I will never get through this, ever. So I did. I also realised I had to start university again. So I enrolled for a Bachelor of Health Science, and I did that slowly. I started with one subject and I got a distinction. I thought, okay, that's all right. And I did a couple more and I got HDs, and then I just built on that over the next 2 years. And so I've actually done 1 year of a Bachelor of Health Science and done pretty well. It got me the interview because it was 50% on your academic and 50% on the interview. So, yeah, it worked out. But I did the GAMSAT 5 times. And I did pass all 3 subjects, all 3 sections eventually. But you have to learn what the GAMSAT's about. It's a game. And I think once you get your head around what this is about, and don't be intimidated by it, and having the support of you both, I think got me there. And your wonderful people that you have working for you who tutor and train people, they put me on the right path and I got through it. But paradoxically, I didn't actually need my GAMSAT to get into CDU. But advice to anyone is do the GAMSAT, because one thing that the GAMSAT does for you, if you want to do medicine, is that it trains you to think critically from a scientific point of view. And if you do it, then you've got options with different universities. And if you never have to use it, it doesn't matter, because I found that I found my university subjects were easier because I'd done the GAMSAT, which is so damn hard.
By comparison,
I could actually do my university subjects, and that's why I got good marks.
Yeah, so that's an incredible story there, Sue. And I think that there are a couple of interesting things that I kind of want to highlight. Firstly, you came to us for GAMSAT help, but you ultimately didn't need the GAMSAT.
Yes.
But what was really interesting was your ability to kind of find a way. And you didn't just go for like, I'll try this thing and hopefully it works out. Fingers crossed. You were like, no, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to go back to uni. I'm going to fix my degree. I'm going to apply to the CDU, and I'm going to talk to this person. I'm going to see how I can. And eventually, you got there. And I think it was only a matter of time before you did with that approach. And I think that's one thing that I want to highlight.
But Tom, I really wasn't, because I don't think I'm that smart. Actually, I don't know how I did this. I don't think I'm that. I'm not that smart. I'm sorry. I don't feel. I'm just a bit awestruck.
I think most people feel that way when they get in. So honestly, most people, and then they're like, "Holy crap! I'm going to have to get through medical school now."
Every person that I've ever interviewed for this podcast has some sort of like moment where they're like, is someone going to tap on my shoulder and say, hey, there's an admin error? Or they're like, I keep on.
Although funny enough, Sue had one of those already.
Yeah, exactly right. I got this email from Flinders University, and it sort of looked like, you've been granted an interview. And I said it to Tom, and he said, it looks like an interview to me. And then when I rang up and sort of said, what's going on here? Then they said, sorry, we've sort of made a mistake. It was sent to everyone. And I went, okay, all right.
Then when the actual offer came through, Sue was like, Tom, is this real? We had to check.
I thought I'd send it to you for verification because I thought, Tom knows this stuff. It's real. Am I being scammed?
But I think everyone has this moment of like not feeling like they're smart enough, or like they're in a little bit of disbelief. And I think the longer that you've been at it, because right now you're 72 now, correct? Like it's been a 2-year journey for you. I think the longer you've been at it, the more you put into it. And it's like you're going from every angle trying to get in. You're like, cool, if it's postgrad, if it's undergrad, if it's here, if it's there, I've got to redo my undergrad. When you're doing all of that, you're busy just doing the stuff. Sometimes it's to be like, oh, I got in. Oh, I got it worked. Which thing works? It didn't matter, because that persistence and that diligence, you'd be surprised, Sue, with how many people say to me, like, oh, I didn't get in first go, so I just went back to my job for 4 years and started doing that and thought, oh, I'm not going to get in, and they kind of give up on their dream. And I think the real thing for you and this, if everybody walks away just going, how do I get in? Not if I get in, if I do this one thing, will I get in? Because there is no guarantee. It's like, what is everything I need to do? Let's get doing that. Do I need to study harder? Do I need to find a different pathway? Do I need to go back, fix my undergrad? Do I need to, like, it doesn't matter.
Well, I'd love to hear what Sue, like, what would you say to someone who's done it once and gone, well, I guess I didn't get in. I'm going back to my usual life. What do you say to them?
Don't do that. You might have to continue your usual life, okay? Not everyone's got the luxury that I had where I retired, right? Stopped working on building sites, had myself financially set up that I could just focus on this. I don't have young children to wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. I know all about that. I'm not looking after elderly parents or anything like that. I'm so old they've died. So I think it's a sweet spot for me personally, that I had the time. My health has been very, very good. So I'm very blessed with that. I mean, I was able to study quite effortlessly for hours and hours. But I must say that I think for people in that situation where they get their first knockback, don't be disheartened. If you really want to do it, keep going and stay flexible. There's more ways to skin a cat than you would believe. Okay, so if you can't get into one university, try another one. If you really want to do it, go to one of the rural universities. There's ways to do it. It seems to be an attrition rate of who gives up and who keeps going. And like I said, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. You can do it if you can just persist, just hang in there. I did the GAMSAT 5 times, but every time I learned something about it. And it was training me, it was training my brain to think critically about medical issues. I started reading medical articles so that I could get familiar with them and read them quickly and understand them. And you know what? I've got these subscriptions to various, like the New England Journal of Medicine, Medscape, all those, Springer. And I love them because guess what? I'm right up to date with what's going on in all sorts of fields, whether it's, whether it's your guts or whether it's your cancer or whatever the issue is. And it's just fascinating. To me, it's like eating chocolate every day to do medicine. It is just so interesting, and I still can't believe it, Tom. I wake up in the night and think, nah, I must have been dreaming.
I want to hear about your first week once you're in. When do you start? When do you
should start in a week.
A week. All right. Well, actually, I've got a great podcast episode that you should listen to called How to Survive the First 6 Months of your medical degree. And it's got a lot of tips and advice on what to do. So I'll send you that.
I really appreciate that because I'm now terrified. I found out I've got 33 references to get under my belt in 16 weeks. The course is longer than a normal uni course. It's 16 weeks, not 12. And I think they're going to flog us to death. I can just see what's coming. 33 references. I mean, crikey, that's a lot.
You'll get this with your tenacity and your work ethic. You'll get there. And so I'm kind of curious. So that yesterday I was speaking to someone, and he's like, you know what, Tom, I'm kind of getting on. I'm getting a bit older, and so I'm getting worried about this GAMSAT thing. And I was like, how old are you? And he goes, 29.
But
Now we laugh, but you know, honestly, like I think we need to put it into perspective. When I went through my degree, there were people in their, you know, there were people with families in their 30s and 40s doing the GAMSAT. And I mean, I think, Sue, you take the cake on this one, and I think you're the kind of the inspirational leader on this. What would you say to this young whippersnapper?
I'd say, look, I think my advice to anyone is live as long as you can, and then you can do all sorts of things. Right? The secret is living as long as you can, because if you die when you're 29, that's it. But if you can keep your health up, keep your mental, you know, be mentally healthy, be physically healthy, enjoy your life, there will be a time, if it's something you really, really want to do, when that time will be right for you. It's not always right. I mean, I feel so sorry for young people who are in their 20s and 30s. A lot of them got young families. They're trying to keep a job down, you know, and they want to do medicine. Well, guys, you know, I don't want to say you've set yourself a hard road, but you have, because you know what? It's harder for you than me. You know, I think it is, and I can see like in my classes, there were people doing the Bachelor of Health Science, and they're all less than half my age, well and truly. Yeah. You know, a lot of them sort of looked at me and went, "Are you in the wrong class? I mean, what are you doing here?" You know, sort of thing. And then when I tell them, yes, I'd really like to become a doctor, they all go, "Well, tell her she's dreaming." You know, but I wrote to every one of my lecturers and I said, "Look, thank you so much for everything you've done, because every one of them contributed to this. And I want you to know I've actually been accepted into med school." And the absolute delight and that has come back to me with their responses is just, it's worth $1 million. You know, they said, this is the sort of thing we as teachers want to see. We want to see our students achieve. And I'm sure you feel the same way too. Every time you get someone who's a med student, you know, gets to be med student, I'm sure you go, tick, what a wonderful thing. And you guys do a fantastic job. I'm not, you know, trying to gild the lily or anything like that, but I don't think I could have got here, Tom, without your guidance on the interview. Your interview lectures and that are just brilliant. I was nervous. I was really nervous. I mean, you know, here I am, 72 years old. I'm nervous about an interview. Yeah, I was, you know, but because I'd done that preparation that you made available to me, I felt confident. I felt a quiet confidence, not the surface sort of thing. I felt I could deal with anything they threw at me.
Did something right. I think it was right because you got in. I think what makes the difference, Tom, you were saying, like with people's experiences, how old they are or young they are, or doesn't matter what it is, we each have this different experience. So for you, Sue, you've had children, you've got the background in building, and now you've got like medicine that's going to be under your belt as well. And it's often the melding of all of these skills that actually gets you to be the doctor that you are. And I think if you had done this when you were 30, you would be a totally different doctor than you're going to be when you're 75. Like,
absolutely. 77. I'll be 77.
77, you know, the skills that you're going to be building, like, I genuinely believe you got in because of your building experience. And that's because every builder that I know comes up every day with problems. Like, basically, as a builder, your job is to fix problems. And so you're not scared of problems. You're not scared of anything going wrong because you're like, cool, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to go this other way. I'm just going to build this other way. And you got 30 years of building that muscle of persistence, of determination. So you're like, cool, my next problem is I need to get into med school. Well, I'm going to try this way. I'm going to try that way. And that's why you're not stressed about it. But when the 29-year-old, I don't know who it was, Tom, that you were talking to, but when the 29-year-old goes, oh, I'm so old, it's because they haven't got the 30 years of building experience where they're tackling problems every day. And so what I'd love to see is that everybody has experience, but how are we pulling the skills that we have into what we're doing now and melding them all together? Like that.
And listening to this and going, hey, that is a solution. That's what I could do. I can do that too. And everyone can do that.
Absolutely.
It's just firstly understanding that you can and that it's available to do, and then giving it a crack and pushing through with it.
Yeah.
So it's
And
good to hear.
sometimes it's 1 minute mile, you know, like no one could run a 1 minute mile until someone did. And then like 4 people in the next 4 months did it because they saw that someone else had done it. So you're a trailblazer, Sue, because I think people are going to see that you're doing it and being like, well, if Sue can do it, I can do it too. And I think that's really important, that we have visibility and the ability to know, like, you're breaking barriers here, literally. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are inspired because of your journey.
Yeah. And I think I don't know, but yeah, I think that oftentimes we get, sometimes we get to a point in life and we're like, am I stuck down this path forever? Can I make a change? Can I shift? Can I change careers? Can I change what I'm doing? Am I too old? Is it too late? All these different things. Am I stuck if I'm too far down this one path to change? And what I love about your story, Sue, is the answer is you can you can make a change at any time, and it just requires that these skills and these abilities that all of us can tap into, that you've exhibited through your last few years. So it's a really inspiring story in that sense for me.
That's exactly right. You don't have to look. Everything comes, if you really want it, at the right time, and the right time mightn't be when you think it is. A lot of people, I can see it in the Reddit. Reddit has a GAMSAT page, and everyone just chats. And I don't engage much in it, but I like to see, what a lot of people are going through. And a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm 32. Should I? I'm too old for medicine." I'm going. I'm very tempted to go. Oh, really? You think you're old? But I think you just need to stay flexible and work towards it. Get yourself in the right financial position. There's no good trying to do this when you're stressing about how you're going to pay your mortgage or how you're going to pay light bills. You need to be in a position where you can just go, I don't have to worry about that, just focus on, because it's hard.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen people who are paying off mortgages, who do have a family, and they're working as well, and I mean, it can be done at that point too. That is another one of these kind of barriers that we have. It is definitely much harder at that point, but it's not impossible. Like, it's a matter of, again, having the right techniques. Firstly, understanding that it's possible, then taking the techniques and applying them to use your time far more effectively. Get help where you can, and make sure you're using your time effectively. And another kind of boot camp I was speaking to yesterday, he's at home with 4 kids. His wife works, running her own business, and so he's trying to, and he's doing some studies on the side as well, and the GAMSAT. And so I'm like, all right, you can do this, but we need to play life at a higher level. We need to be far more strategic and purposeful with your time. The 4 kids, they're not going to go away, right? We need to accept that they're going to be there, and we need to work around that. We need to work with your wife, with anyone else, to try and make the time. And all right, what can you do today? It's like, I could do an hour. I'm like, great, I can go to the classes. Great. Go to the classes. And what are you going to do tomorrow? Okay, I can get up early, do an hour before the kids are up. Perfect. And so we kind of just chip away at it, and we find this time to make it work. So I think that you're breaking some barriers there, and I think that there are other people in different life circumstances. And that's why we love sharing these stories, just to show people what's possible. Because like you said, we're often stuck in these little holes. Like, Reddit is a bit of a rough place to be. And there's all sorts of things going on there, and then you might have your own kind of bubble that you live in, and everyone's got their little bubbles, and we're kind of stuck in those within the limitations of those bubbles. So it's good to see this and go, all right, there's so much possible, there's so much going on, so much good, so much that could be done, and so many barriers that we can break. And if you really, really want it, then let's make it happen. Let's find the techniques, let's implement it, let's use that tenacity that you've exhibited, Sue, and eventually it's only a matter of time.
I remember when we started down this path, I remember Marie interviewed me. And I could tell she was going, I think I'll just humour this person. You know? but
It's not just you. You know, I'm pretty blunt. If I'm like, no, it's not going to happen, I will tell you. Come on.
look, she was blunt. She was blunt, and I think she thought, I'll just humour her along a bit. You know, she'll go away. You know, but sorry, Marie, I'm still here.
Yeah.
That was not what happened. Thank you. I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but you're going to have a better chance with us than on your own. So come with us.
That wasn't the question. It was just that I remember your attitude to me was going, it's sort of like, you know, you pat someone on the head, you go, there you go, look, you know, you have a go, you know, that's really good.
Was not, thank you. I deny that.
No. We've seen so many different people come through that it's not up to us to decide whether someone is we reserve the judgment on who wants to become a doctor. What we look at is their attitude and their approach to it, not the kind of the picture of who they are or what they are or whatever. It's all right. What do they where do they want to be, and how are they going to approach this, and what is their attitude towards it, and what are they like as people? And so then at that, and look, and sometimes people push our limits as to what we think is possible, and you know, you're probably there. But we're never like, no, I don't think you should be a doctor. It's like, well, look,
No, you never said that. You never said that.
And if you can put in the work and the commitment and the effort and the care and the compassion, then look, we're all behind you, and we've been behind you, like, yeah, the whole time.
And look, I don't know if any boot camp member has ever had more fans than you, Sue. Everybody is like rooting for you to get in. All of our students, all of our tutors, like so excited, like, Sue did it, because you're breaking barriers. And this is the thing, we are not the judges of who can and can't do it. The way that I see it, and the invitations that I give to people to join the boot camp are always like, is it going to be easier for you with me than without me? And if the answer is yes, I know I can make this easier for you, then I'm like, great, come on board, I'll help you and do my bloody best to make it happen, you know, like put everything in. But if I don't think that it's going to be easy for you with me, then I'll also be honest. I'll be like, look, it's not a match. And that was not what happened. We were like, it's a match.
Look, I got to say too, particularly your mindful sessions, I think, looking back, they were more valuable than I realised at the time. At the time, I was a bit sort of, God, why do we have to do this touchy-feely stuff? You know, I was a bit sort of, you know, I don't need this. I've got other things to do in this hour. But looking back, I think they had a very important psychological effect on me, that I realised there was more to this than just study. There was mental health care. There was looking after myself, helping other people to look after themselves. And your sessions were just fantastic. I mean, you know, it was only, three-quarters of an hour every week, but that I started to look forward to them because I realised they were actually helping me cope with, it was pretty stressful. I mean, I've got to be honest about it. Trying to get HDs in a lot of these subjects is damn hard. I didn't get all HDs, but I got enough, obviously, and I didn't get below a distinction, which most people are sort of a bit taken back by that. But, you know, I just worked hard. But I had the right guidance from both you, and I've got to thank you so much, because I think the only reason I'm here today and starting med school in a week is because of your because you've mentored me and helped me see that it's possible. So,
I appreciate that so much.
Yeah,
we have a little triangle that we kind of work on, which is skill set, mindset, and work ethic. And I think in terms of the skill set, you needed a hand on what to do, like how to build those skills. In terms of the work ethic, you were there. You knew you were pumping in the hours. We had built a plan together. And part of work ethic, that area that we talk about, is also recharge, like having the time to actually sit down and have those recharge. And that's why we do it together. It's 45 minutes, an hour, in the 9 weeks leading up to the GAMSAT. But at least I know for an hour when people are coming, that is the safe space. That is a space to have community and to recharge. Now, the last part of that triangle, so the skill set, mind, work ethic, the last set is mindset. And I think so many people overlook that, but maybe that is where and you might even be overlooking it, but I think that's where your superpower is, because you didn't have the negative self-talk that you couldn't do it. You just knew, I'm going to do it. It's not that I know how to do it. It's that it doesn't matter what gets in my way. I'm going to problem solve it. I'm going to be the problem solver. And things like fear of failure, you didn't use that as something to stop you studying. I think you had a fear of failure, but you used it to drive you forward, which is actually the positive way to have fear of failure. Like it was a good thing. It was a driving factor in your life. And so for most people who are sitting the GAMSAT, the things that stopped them, you didn't have the blockages around those mindset things. You had, a bit on maybe recharge a little bit, but you didn't know how to study for the GAMSAT. But for a lot of people, they're still in that work ethic and mindset is the biggest part that we need to start on. So I think even with that and understanding that if you're an older student, you have more life experience to get you through those areas that maybe the younger students don't have. And so using that to your benefit, like this is what I love. You've grabbed it by the hand and gone, I don't care what anyone thinks. Let's start, buddy, do it.
Yeah. The lesson, one of the lessons there is that everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. And the key is to just really hone in on your strengths and try and fix your weaknesses. And everyone, no matter how old, what your life circumstances. I sent an email recently to the boot campers, and they were like, some people are like, oh, I have sick family members, I can't study. I'm like, well, no, you have sick family. You need to study because you have sick family members. Use that as the reason why you study. I'm inspired because I want to be able to help them. I want to be able to turn things around. I don't want to be helpless anymore. I want to be the one who cures them, and use that as your driving force. And so, the mindset component of GAMSAT is huge. It's huge because it doesn't just test your, like you said, your physics and the chemistry and the academics. It makes you wonder, am I good enough? Can I actually do this? And the answer to all of that is yes. But we have these little voices in our head from wherever that they just kind of get in the way. And I think from you, Sue, you probably had those voices too, but you just went, all right, well, I'm going to prove those voices wrong. I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn that around. Right. And so then they use that to drive you forward and to find a way. And I think that is a big kind of a takeaway that I hope people take from this.
I really do too.
I know I'm a bit of an outlier. I did some work because older doctors are becoming a thing because as the population, the demographics are aging, doctors are working longer and doctors are becoming older. And it's very interesting when I talk to people, I sort of say, look, I'm going to be in my late 70s, probably 80, when I, get through all this by the time I've done my training and paid back my bond and all that sort of stuff. So how would you feel like going to a doctor that's that old? Everyone said, well, that's fantastic because at least you understand where I'm coming from. You've been there, you've done this, you can tick off all this stuff, that you've got some empathy with people that I do understand, what some of these issues are involved. And so I think people are accepting older doctors, and there is actually an older doctors association in Australia that I will be joining when I graduate, because they are a thing, that they're becoming part of the demography. That
I think the big question is, will you go drinking with the med students?
The trouble is, I can drink all of them under the table. However, I've become a teetotaler, so I'll be just sitting there having my lemonade. Yeah, of course I'll go out with them. It's a very collegiate profession. Doctors hang together, like crows. They're all hanging together.
Yeah. In medical school, you really get to know each other because you're all going through this tough time, and you're kind of like war buddies, have gone through the war together for medical school, and you go through, and it's a great experience. But I'll send you that podcast episode because the first 6 months tend to be the most challenging. Once you get through that, you can manage the rest.
You know, Tom's dad had a mother-daughter team that used to work for him, and the daughter was in this, like maybe 75, and the mum was 90, and they would job share. So I think they were like one was 2 days, one was 3 days a week, and they worked in the practice together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just so many things that are, it's a wonderful time to be alive because there's just so many things you can do. As long as I can stay alive in good health, I plan to practice well into my 90s. And in Darwin, we've got one doctor who I know is 94. He's an ear, nose and throat specialist. He's still practicing and he's as sharp as a tack. We had a psychologist work to 100. He was 100 years old and he was still turning up in court, giving professional views on stuff. The oldest doctor in the world practicing apparently is a fellow called Howard Tucker, I think his name is, in America. He's 98.
Yeah.
You know your problem, Sue? The only problem you're going to have, and Tom had this problem as well, is when you're an intern, all your patients are going to think you're the specialist. And they're going to expect you to have consultant level advice, and you're going to be like, "It's my first day on the job."
And they're going to be like, "Don't joke with me, Sue. Seriously, give me the expert advice." Like, no, really, it's my first week.
I think they have uniforms that say student.
Tom had this problem because when he first started working, your first rotation was in surgery, remember? And you had that young intern. So it was Tom, the intern, and the young guy. And he was quite, maybe not, he was significant.
Yeah, I'd have the tie on and walk in and they think I'm the consultant. I'm like, no, I'm the intern. I know nothing here.
My oath. I've been keeping my mouth shut, I can tell you.
Well, that's what makes you actually seem smarter.
Because
You're the one sitting in the back making the decisions, right?
Yeah. Oh well, all this will be ahead. Let's do this again in about 6 months' time, and I'll let you know.
Yeah, let's do it again at the end of first year. That's it. See, here's some more stories from your first.
Yes, I love to hear that. We really appreciate your time, Sue. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you think that, like, the listeners should know?
Look, I think going down this path is one of the most interesting and exciting things I think you can do. And I don't think you should be put off by the fact that, I don't have a science degree or anything like that, because it's really the journey itself, I think, is makes it worthwhile. And you just never know. Like me, you just never know. You might fall over the line, I've had people say to me, "Oh, you're taking up a position that a young person can take," And I said to them, my answer to them is, yeah, out of 1,600 people that applied, 40 got Guernseys, right? 40 got selected. 39 of those other people are also keeping people out. So why are you saying I won my position there out of all those people? And I'm sure they're smarter than me, they're probably better looking than me, they're younger than me, they're probably richer than me. I don't care. They're whatever they are. I said, I won my place there, just like the other 39 other people.
Yeah, because you were better. You were better than the others. You qualified for whatever they decided. They decided that above all those other, 1,560 people, out of the remaining, you were in the top 40, and so you earned your position. Yeah, 100%.
But it's funny what people say, people, and of course I get you're far too old. Where are we going to get the value of you? I'm going, you just watch. Just watch.
You did outwork a lot of people. We saw that. We saw that firsthand. That if you can't, a doctor,
don't bet against Sue. You got to bet on Sue. That's what we've been doing.
Do not bet against Sue. Agreed. I would be delighted if I went to the emergency department up in NT and you were my doctor. I would be delighted, honestly, because I know that being a doctor is it's something that you need all of the areas. Yes, you need to know about medicine. Yes, you need to be hardworking, but you also need to be empathetic. You are the ultimate problem solver. The biggest problems in the world are health problems. And so when you put all of that together, I'd be like, who else in the world would I want to be treating me? I want someone who's tenacious, someone who's a problem solver, someone who is going to work hard to know everything. Like that to me, I don't care how old you are, how young you are. Those are the skills you need. If you've got the skills, that's what I want. I want someone who's going to fight for me.
Oh, well, I've been in that position, fighting for people for a long time. But anyway, it's look, all I can say to people is look after yourself physically and mentally, because the road is long and hard. It's not impossible, but you do need to learn to look after yourself. And I think the burnout rate in doctors and even suicide rates, which no one wants to talk about, but doctors have a hard time. They have a hard time when they're studying because they just pour it onto you. And you can have a hard time dealing with the things you've got to deal with after you've graduated. Yeah. And I think we've got to all learn early in the piece how to look after ourselves, both in a physical sense, being, making sure that you're exercising, you're eating right. You don't have to be a monk, you don't have to just live on gruel. You can enjoy life, and I think you should. But
I hope that some of the things you covered in the boot camp and the mindset classes, I hope they help.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's a very, very important part for having a long-term career in this field, because to me, it is one of the most exciting things anyone can do. And I am so privileged that I have got the chance to do this. I'm just grateful every day.
Well, we're excited for you, and congratulations again. This is really cool.
Thank you so much for your time. We will definitely hit you up for another interview. I reckon it's 6-month mark or the year mark, somewhere around there, so we can see your progress. And if those listening want to send Sue some well wishes, jump into the Nurses Doing GAMSAT Facebook group, and we will send them on to Sue, because I just think you're going to inspire so many people. We would love to get whoever's listening to this their feedback. It's just Nurses Doing GAMSAT on Facebook. Chuck in a comment in there, and we'll make sure that Sue sees them all.
Amazing. Thank you, Sue.
Anyone can do this. Anyone can. Trust me. Sorry. No. Thank you very much for your time, and you have a great day.
Bye for now.
Bye, Tom.
Bye.
Hey, I have a cool gift for you, just for listening to the Nurses Doing GAMSAT podcast. We do some of our best work in our Facebook group called, you guessed it, Nurses Doing GAMSAT. It's free to join, and every day we're sharing actionable guides, tips and tricks, and really just how to smash the exam and get into medicine. You can join today by searching Nurses Doing GAMSAT on Facebook. Thanks for listening to another episode, and I'll see you next time.